WP Bosses episode number 22. We're here with Kristen
Symonds.
Sorry, is it Symonds or Simons?
It's Symonds.
Simons. We're here with I'll get someone to edit that. That's okay. we're here with Kristen Symonds. Kristen Symonds. Let's just quickly go around and just introduce everyone. Paul, who are you?
Hey, I'm Paul. I run Gold Coast business websites, front-end WordPress developer, and I also run WP Genie, website care service. That's me.
Nik, who are you?
Well, I'd be Nik, also known as Nik, and I run a agency called Positive Business Online, and also run a Facebook group called Business Owners Smashing It Online. So I'm basically a front-end developer who's trying to get away from code and hand that over to someone else and do more of the strategy and business stuff.
That sounds like a good plan. And I'm Robey Lawrence, and I have a business called Bearded Friend, which also does a similar thing to what Nik is talking about, but I have a beard. That is the only difference. And we're here with Kristen Symonds from Automattic. Kristen, say hello and tell us who you are.
Hi, I am Kristen. I am a happiness engineer at Automattic, which means that I do customer support mainly on WordPress.com.
Yeah, nice. And how long have you been at Automattic?
Nearly 4 years.
Yeah, right.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's probably just as long as I've known you, or maybe longer. I think.
Yeah, slightly longer, I think.
I think I met you at WordCamp. Did you go to WordCamp Sunshine Coast?
I did indeed.
You did. I think that's where I met you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Actually, is it 4 years? It's hard to believe that it's 4 years. It only felt like last year or the year before. That's making me feel really old because I've known you for quite a long time.
Yeah, I might have even, I think I knew you before I worked at Automattic though, so.
You did. Yes,
Yeah.
we met at a WordCamp Sydney, I think, my very first WordCamp.
Nice.
Well, actually, it could have been before that. It could have been actually a meetup in Sydney before the WordCamp, and the meetup was totally booked out, and I was just waiting for someone to let me in because I was on the waiting list. But apparently
Yeah.
there really wasn't a waiting list. I could have just turned up anyway.
Oh, look, those waiting lists. So many people don't show up to meetups. As we all know, free events, that's what you get for the RSVPs. Yeah.
So what were you doing before Automattic?
Before Automattic, I was freelancing, making websites on WordPress. Yeah, my business was called Kristarella Studios because Kristarella is my other name, my online screen name. For individuals and small businesses. Yep. And then, so I really liked making websites, but I was not very good at running a business. So I decided I had to either get much better at that or go work for somebody else. And I ended up with the latter option. So.
Yeah, fair enough. So did you, what was the process to get in with Automattic? Did you have to apply a few times or did you get in on your first ask or?
I applied one time. And I actually applied for 3 positions in one application. I just kind of sent my resume and my cover letter and I was like, hey, I'm really interested in being a code wrangler or a theme wrangler or a happiness engineer. So they really wanted happiness engineers in the UTC plus time zones. So that was the one that they wanted me to do a trial for. So I interviewed for that. There's a little project that you do kind of as part of the interview process. And then you do a 4 to 6 week trial. So my trial was about 5 weeks, which is essentially doing the work of a happiness engineer, and then you get passed on to what is now the HR chat, but at the time was the Matt chat, where Matt does the final interview and kind of vets you and gives you the job offer. So
you got to talk to the man himself.
Wow.
I did. Although I had met him before. He came to Sydney in 2008 for WordCamp Australia, and I met him then. And then his trip to Sydney in 2014 was actually what prompted me to apply at Automattic. So,
Do you know what? I think I went to that event when he came to Sydney.
Nice.
At the locomotive room or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it was at I can't remember what they call it, the ATP, Australia Technology Park or something,
Yeah,
which was
in Redfern or something.
basically the old train stations the old train yards at Redfern.
Yeah. Well, I was there.
Nice. It was a pretty good
I went
event.
to New Zealand to actually meet him. Same thing,
cool.
but he had a tour to New Zealand, so I ended up going there.
Yeah, right.
Good one.
Nice.
So I think, Kristen, you're the first person I have ever met that got a job with Automattic, and it was just like this wow moment. Like, who works for Automattic? You know, who can get a job here? We're only in little old Australia here. I mean, how did it feel to actually get to work for this monolith organisation that actually creates our careers?
Yeah, well, it's funny thinking of it as a monolith because I saw a Sydney Morning Herald describe us as a web giant, and at the time we only had like 400 employees. So I was like, oh, I don't know how giant that is, but
Well, it's 399 more than me.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty iconic, for all of us that love WordPress. So it was very exciting, and then it got very daunting. I started to get anxiety for like no reason that I could identify. And when you join the company, they assign you a mentor who is usually somewhere near your time zone, but not in your team. You get a mentor in your team as well, but another mentor. So I was having a chat to him, and he said, it might be imposter syndrome because you've joined this company that has really high standards, and we do like pretty cool work, and everybody gets it. And just the fact that you're here means that you deserve to be here. Like, you've already done the work to prove that you can be here and do this job. And so my anxiety actually instantly went away. That was about 6 weeks into the job that I started to feel that way. So, just him saying that everybody feels that way, and that you've already done the work to be here, I was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. If everyone feels that way, I won't worry anymore. So it was initially very exciting, and then really daunting, and then exciting again. And well, now it's normal, I guess.
So how does your typical workday sort of, because you don't go into an office, do you?
I do not go into an office.
So what is your workday?
So I like to work every morning that I can from a cafe. That kind of just helps me get out of bed and get some fresh air and get started for the day. So I essentially roll out of bed and get dressed and say hi to my rabbits, and then I head out to my favorite cafe and have coffee and breakfast there, and do usually about 3 hours of work, and then go home for lunchtime and do the second half of my day at home.
So what is your work? Is that dealing with client support tickets? Is that mostly email or on the phone, or a mix of both?
It's mostly live chat and a bit of email. So probably like 4/5 live chat and 1/5 email.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you don't.
Are you getting into client sites as well to solve problems?
Yep. Yeah, I can do. Usually I'll try to work them through it, teach a man to fish kind of thing. But if they're really struggling, or sometimes if they've like broken something, like if they've got a plugin that is causing a server error or something, I might have to actually disable it because they can't access WP admin anymore. So yeah, I can do that sort of thing.
So does that mean you can get
Cool.
back-end access, like FTP access into the thing to disable it, or the PHP My Admin? That seems scary.
Yeah, so actually not specifically. Very few people have that access. I have a limited WP CLI access to help with those issues.
Cool. So do you have a team leader? Do you have somebody who looks over your shoulder virtually?
Yeah, I do have a team lead. He lives in New Zealand, so my team is about, well, it was 10 people. I feel like 10 people at our last meeting, but I think we might have expanded to about 13 in the last couple of months. Anyway, so he's in New Zealand. Two of us are in Sydney. A few people are in Indonesia and Malaysia. So my team is kind of Australasia area. And my lead, he does stuff like he'll do some reviews of my work. Not that often. We're pretty well trusted to do our job well. Like I said, we kind of, the whole trial process makes it makes sure that our people do high quality work before they come in full time. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, that we do reviews, give feedback. He helps the team keep on top of the enormous amount of communication that comes through. The company is up to about 700 now. So
wow.
there's and everyone is remote, so it's an enormous amount of written information that's coming through on various topics, and so just making sure that we're aware of the ones that affect us most.
So how do you communicate?
So we use Slack for daily stuff. It's becoming a more and more important part of our communications. We use P2s, which are essentially blogs with a front-end posting theme. So they're private for the company, and we'll use those for more permanent information. So Slack is kind of a bit more real-time or short-term stuff, and then P2s are for stuff that you want to be more permanently searchable, or for follow-ups that somebody else might need to look into to help with, that sort of stuff.
So what is a P2? Because I just looked up P2 on Google, and it told me that it was a provisional license.
So P2 was the name of the theme that allowed for front posting on a blog. So when I say front posting, like, from the front page of the website, you can download it, I think. Pretty sure you can still download it from the wordpress.org repository. So it kind of turns the blog into a bit of a forum but just using posts and comments, not using like full-on tables and then forum threads and all of that. So
basically it's a theme that is just a commenting theme.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
Hasn't been updated for over 2 years.
Yeah, so I think the
I know.
newer one is actually called O2, but we just kept calling them P2s internally. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Oh, okay. O2 is the next evolution of P2. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
You said you applied for theme wrangler
That does look good.
code wrangler positions as well. Did you ever build any themes or plugins that are on the repo?
I did not build any themes. I have a plugin that I still maintain called Exifography, which is for displaying EXIF data on photo blogs and the like.
Oh, cool. Because you're a keen photographer too, aren't you?
I am, yeah. So that was one that I just built. I essentially started building it for myself. I wanted something like that on my photo blog, and there didn't seem to be anything like that out there. So I started building it, and I have kept going with it.
Nice.
That would be another huge, I guess, advantage with working with Automattic, who likes to fly you around the world as well. Lots of destinations to take photos.
It sure is. Yep. That's kind of when most of my photo taking gets done right now is when I am on a work trip. Yeah.
So where have they flown you to? What parts of the world?
Well, for our annual company get together, we have gone to the most recent was Florida, Orlando, Florida. So
Nice.
I took a couple of days to go to Disney World. So that was awesome.
Oh, awesome.
Previous 2 years before that, it was Whistler in Canada. So that was beautiful. And I was able to take a bit of a holiday before one of those trips and take a train to a little town called Jasper in Alberta. So, yeah, that was fun. Before that was Park City in Utah. And then for my team meetups, so I also get together with just my team each year. And we have been to Shirahama in Japan, which is about 3 hours south of Osaka. So that was amazing. And we've been to Jeju Island, South Korea, and Singapore. And well, that's all I remember for my team meetups.
That's a lot of places in the last 4 years.
Is there any jobs? Is there any jobs going at Automattic?
Sure are, yeah. Yeah, go to automattic.com/work-with-us. Or if you just go to automattic.com/jobs, it redirects to that page as well.
Applying now.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
So
I also got to go to WordCamp Europe a couple of times, so that was amazing too.
So what do you do at these big shindigs? Do you like the big sort of company ones and the team ones? What do? Do you just do like high five each other's and sort of sort of go, yeah, you sold like 20,000 support tickets last month, go you, that sort of thing? Is it the kind of rah-rah, or is it
that is a very small part of it. So there was a teeny part where the customer support team, or like the happiness division, as it's called, got together, and we got a T-shirt and some candy, and people were able to write warm fuzzy notes to each other and things like that. That was maybe an hour of the whole week. So the rest of the week, there's a lot of work. We do a lot of work. I was, the last couple of years, I helped teach a class on CSS, so mainly targeted at customer support to be able to help our customers with CSS. So there's something unique about our customer support on WordPress.com. I think it's pretty unique, is that, for a hosting company, I don't think many hosting companies help people actually modify their sites in that way. So,
no.
yeah, so I've been helping teach people to do that better. And there are heaps of other classes that go on, like about JavaScript and security, servers, and there's like a happiness academy that I did that on my first year, which is just like a whole bunch of different tools, to help customer support be better. Some people do their regular jobs. Definitely some of the server guys do their regular jobs because we don't want anything to fall apart while we're all away. And then we try to keep customer support open as much as we can during that week as well. So there's a bunch of happiness engineers doing work. And also, you may have heard from other automaticians like on Twitter or whatever that everybody has to do 1 week of support every year, no matter your job. So like HR, theme wranglers, code wranglers, JavaScript wranglers, they all have to do 1 week of support. So there's a few teams now that like to get that week of support done in the at the grand meetup, the GM, because it's quite cool doing that job in a room of like 100 people when normally you do it by yourself at home. So
So does that mean that at some stage, if I've got an issue with my WordPress.com account, I might actually just get Matt Mullenweg helping me?
It can happen. Yeah. One lucky week a year, yeah.
Do they publish a schedule as to when people are going to be on, and so we can just make a barrage of support together?
You sure don't. No.
Actually, I'd like to get Dion Holtz as well, So
Yep.
When he's on.
Yep. He's on there sometimes.
Preferably while I'm in the cafe just next door to him, and just happens to be on support.
Yeah, I wonder if he'd do face-to-face support.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Hey, Dion, can I buy you a coffee?
Yeah.
So you must meet I don't know whether you do meet people, but who's the most famous person you've met so far? Or spoken to?
I mean, I would say Matt. Yeah, probably.
So you haven't done any support for, say, like Kanye West or Justin Bieber or someone that's just trying to fix up their sites?
No. I don't know what it is about the famous people that we have on WordPress.com. There are a few, but they don't really contact us on support very much. They probably have people that do that for them.
Yeah.
I'd like to be one of those people. How do I get to be one of those people?
Write a song, make a movie, release an album.
Yeah, I think if I was doing that, I probably wouldn't be managing my own WordPress site. I'd be having those people as well.
Yeah.
So do you work flexibly throughout the day? Do you like sort of, have your coffee in the morning and then work for, say, an hour answering some questions, and then you just go and, I don't know, play with did you say you have rabbits?
I do have rabbits.
Hang out with your rabbits for an hour for lunch or something and then go back to, like, is it flexible or do you have set times?
It's kind of both. So when I first started, it was super flexible. Like I would just do my work whenever I wanted. Now we are making a big effort to make sure that we have 24/7 support coverage. So it's slightly less flexible in that I do get assigned shifts for live chat or email work. But I can specify which hours I want to receive those shifts in. And then, they get assigned a course. So I'll specify 8 hours a day that I am happy to work in, and then I get assigned usually 6 hours of shifts, and then the other 2 working hours are sort of the other bits and pieces like communication and follow-up and learning and that sort of thing. So yeah, and we can set preferences as to whether we want to do more emails or more live chat, that sort of thing. But yes, it's a little bit more organized now to try and reach that 24/7 goal for our customers, and also just to now that we've grown so much since I started, like I would say the happiness division has doubled at least since I started. Yeah, just help kind of manage that whole group of people better.
So what advice would you give us imposters who were sort of considering a job at Automattic?
Well, I mean, like I said, everyone feels like an imposter at some point. Doesn't
I know they might feel it, but I know that I am.
every day. Every day.
Well, I mean, I think one of the first steps is just to read the job description on the jobs page, which is like it's pretty clear what kind of skills are required or desirable. So having used WordPress before is required, I would think. Knowledge of HTML and PHP and CSS for support is probably, I think it's more of a desirable, because there is on-job learning and training as well. Yeah, so that's a great start. Just apply. I mean, you will lose nothing by applying. There is a trial process, so that's something to sort of keep in mind if you are successful with an application. A lot of people do that trial while still doing their other job, so they do the trial on weekends or in the mornings and evenings before and after their other job. Because I was working for myself at the time, it wasn't quite as stressful. I kind of just dialed back on some of the other work and didn't take new projects. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. You do get paid for the trial. It's like a contract work. It's not free labor for us. So yeah, just like if you look at the jobs page and think that you like the sound of the job and think you have some of those skills, just apply.
So I don't mean to put you on the spot at all, but or maybe I do. But when you compare working with Automattic and what you're doing now to what you were doing in your business, because doing design and development, how would you compare it, and what do you prefer, and why do you prefer it?
I definitely prefer working for somebody else, but with more flexibility than a regular office job. So working remotely gives a greater level of flexibility, which is really good. But I really was not very good at the whole administration and billing and any of that stuff. I was just horrible at. So it's awesome that I don't have to do any of that anymore. Yeah, and I mean, how I started my business was really just helping people out. So I was literally answering people's questions on forums while I was at uni, and some of them started saying, "Can I just pay you to do it for me?" And I said, okay, sure. And it kind of grew from there. So I feel like I've kind of come full circle to just, you know, I'm back to helping people make their websites. I sometimes miss a higher level of coding, but I can satisfy some of that with my plugin that I maintain, or I did help write a feature that got launched on WordPress.com once, because there was something that customers kept asking for, and I was like, you know what, I can just write this. I'm not going to bother the developers about it. We have a suggestions list, and it was already on the suggestions list, and but you know, only so many things get through onto the main project. So yeah, I kind of got the ball rolling on that project. So there's Automattic actually has a creed, and one of the lines is that I will not only work on the things that I am assigned to do. So yeah, there's opportunity to do some extra bits and pieces here and there, and teaching as well. Like I said, I did some teaching at the GM. So I definitely prefer my job now to what I was doing before. Yeah.
And what about those clients that you have left behind there? What's happened to them?
Yeah, that's a good question. For most of them, I don't know. So I only had a few return clients. A lot of my clients were just kind of one stop, like I helped them make the website and then they ran with it and didn't return. I had a few that did return. A couple of them were super sad to see me go, and I was pretty sad to leave them as well, because it was pretty fun building a relationship with them and working on their site for a long time. But one of them said to me, I knew this was going to happen eventually because you're so awesome. You're going to go on to bigger and better things. So, so that was his response. And I think he actually had a line on a WordPress guy closer to him. So he was actually in Florida, I think. So yeah, I guess because of the nature of the internet, a lot of my clients were in America, the larger internet population base, and we mostly communicated asynchronously. So yeah, he already had a line on a guy that he could try and get to manage the website going forward. I did refer one of my other regular clients to some people I know, but I don't think it worked out with them.
It'd be pretty hard because you're pretty awesome.
Yeah, I hope he has found somebody good to manage the site.
This is like a matchmakers of dating.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes, yeah, it's really hard to refer people and make sure that they get the best match for them and their website.
If something was to happen to Automattic, what do you think you'd do next? Do you think you'd just go and find another agency, or get out of web completely?
Possibly go and work for Wix or Weebly or Squarespace?
Oh, gosh.
Start a business?
Squareface, I like to call it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. I haven't thought about that. Thanks, Robey.
Planted the
Have
seed.
you got an insight line into something happening there, Robey?
No.
Okay, so I would probably take the opportunity to increase my skills in a few areas that have emerged on the web since I got out of sort of full-time design development. So I guess JavaScript is a main one, like especially working with frameworks like React. That was not even really on my radar when I was freelancing, but it's pretty big now and pretty big in WordPress now. So that's something that, I would really like to do. So I'd probably take the opportunity to level up my skills there, and then I would probably look for an agency job, either doing support or like a junior to middle development role or something like that.
What about something super niche like augmented reality on the web?
Woo.
Wow. AR and VR is not something that has really piqued my interest a great deal in my life so far. I don't think I've even tried a VR headset yet. And then like my AR experience is pretty much just Pokemon Go and that. Do you remember that game that Google came out with yonkers ago? It was like there was a red team and a blue team, and you would hunt for different landmarks and stuff like that.
Like
That
was
sounds
that
like
like
Pokemon.
was that like virtual geocaching or something?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Kind of. I mean, it was a lot like Pokemon Go, but it was like it was potentially a precursor to Pokemon Go. It would be like, if you found one of the places, like similar to the, what do you call them? They're not arenas. They're like training
Stadiums?
Yeah.
Pubs?
Training thingies or stadiums or whatever they are in Pokemon Go, where you can go and fight other people. If you, it was kind of, there was fixed spots like that in the game that you could go and find, and then you would gather experience points and resources and stuff like that. And anyway, very limited. Two games that kind of used AR through the phone. So I no idea. Although Luke Carbis and I think it was Ben, not sure of last name right now, did a really good talk at WordCamp Brisbane about the future of the web, in which they mentioned some stuff like that. That was like very interest-piquing.
I did hear that was good. I'm going to watch the replay video, definitely.
Definitely watch it. It was super cool. Yeah. So I mean, if I come across people that are starting to work on that stuff, then maybe I can jump in or dangle my feet in the pool. But right at the moment, I have no idea about kind of how that is going or developing, or where we're headed on that front.
So you're not seeing that maybe this is an entry point for you into a Microsoft or Google, or are you actually at the peak at the moment?
So my husband did throw me a Google ad, like a job ad for Google in Sydney, but that was one that was kind of a cloud engineer job, and I was like, I don't think I'm ready for that. That's the kind of thing that I would definitely need to increase my coding and development skills on, I think.
So the imposter syndrome really sort of comes in at its fore when you start to think of Google or something like that.
I don't know if it's imposter or just, reading some job descriptions. I'm like, I'm not quite there yet. Or, not quite sure if I want to go there. I do love being a jack of all trades. That does mean that I might never be master of any, but I like being an all-rounder. It's good.
So what are you really? Are you a designer, a coder, a developer, a JavaScript person? Who are you? What are you?
Well, right now I'm a happiness engineer.
Sure.
I don't know. I guess you could. I mean, if you really wanted to box me into one of the more common phrases, I guess I was a front-end developer, kind of, when I was making sites. But yeah, I mean, just generally, I am a person that has knowledge in a variety of areas and likes to help people solve problems.
Yeah, gosh, Nik, don't box her in.
I just like my boxes.
Completely outside of work, when you're not taking photos or playing with Monty or Zoe, your pet rabbits, what are you doing?
I play guitar sometimes, usually at church. That's the place that my guitar gets played most often. I have pretty much all of the hobbies, but not necessarily at the same time. So I like calligraphy.
Oh, yeah.
I like watercolor painting. I like knitting and crochet. This year I started whittling.
Oh,
like what? Whistling.
Whittling.
I had a
wood carving.
I had a whittling kit when I was young.
Nice. Yeah, so wood carving. I haven't done that for a little while, but I do plan to do more of it soon. What else do I like to do? I did get into tying knots.
Okay.
I got slightly obsessed with knots for a little while and started a blog.
Should we go there? Do we need to go there?
Go where?
Tying knots. That's that just doesn't sound good.
It's great.
I know where you're going with that.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, that's probably a good thing.
You know the word. You know the word bondage. That sort of thing.
Oh.
I think that's what
right.
you're sort of referring to in terms of knots.
Yeah, I didn't.
Sorry. I've been outed.
Yeah, I've never used my knot tying for that. I can safely say. Yeah, so I have many hobbies.
So all of the hobbies, yeah.
Yeah.
And you like watching movies as well because of that, like.
I do. You can see our collection back there.
What's your favorite movie? Pick it out. Pull it out of the shelf. Go grab it. What is it? Show us.
I don't. Nah, I can't. I don't have a.
How can you choose? There's so
favorite.
many.
Exactly.
How could you have a favorite?
No.
How is it you've got so many of these antique things? Because I thought movies are just Netflix. This is like the records of yesteryear. I pull out a record, my kids just think it's a frisbee. You've got these sort of CDs, it's like, what are these?
Nik, we live in Australia. Sometimes the internet just doesn't want to work for us.
Yeah, that's true.
I should know this, shouldn't I? But living in the country and barely getting ADSL too.
Yeah. And Netflix sure doesn't have everything either.
No,
I found that too.
Yeah. I don't know what specifically is my favorite, but we do like a lot of sci-fi and I kind of like horror. My husband doesn't like horror quite as much as I do.
Yeah, I'm not.
Wow.
Kind of like horror.
Friday the 13th sort of stuff.
Not so much that. More like
the Saw movies.
No, not even as much. I'm having trouble.
Psycho? American Psycho?
Remembering the name. The one, there's The Conjuring, stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
girls,
I have no idea.
Girls crawl out of the TV screens and stuff like that. Is that?
Oh, The Conjuring isn't so much that. The Ring. Yeah, The Ring is freaky. I also like American Horror Story. It's pretty good. That's on Netflix.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So what would you say? I mean, what are we now? We're sort of like 2018. I'm just sort of thinking because Christmas is coming and I'm freaking out about that there because I've got so much work to do and I've got to buy kids Christmas presents and things. But Christmas in 5 years' time, where is Kristen Symonds? And what is she doing?
I kind of hope that I am still at Automattic or a similar like remote job. I hope that I am still helping people build and maintain their WordPress sites. I would like to do a little bit more technical stuff, a little bit more coding, a little bit more like troubleshooting and stuff. I really like the kind of troubleshooting, solving problems, finding solutions, thinking outside the box, that kind of stuff. Yeah, so I mean, as far as work is concerned, that's what I'm thinking. It's very likely that we're still going to be in the same house. Hopefully there'll be a child or two also living in the house.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what I think might be
more rabbits.
in 5 years. Yeah, 2 is a good number of rabbits. It might not be the same 2 in another 5 years,
but isn't the problem with rabbits that if they're not just all boys or not just all girls, that there's always going to be more than 2?
There's this magical process that they have called neutering. That is a good idea.
Rabbit?
That old thing.
I had 2 male guinea pigs as a kid, and then all of a sudden we had 17. I'm not quite sure.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard of somebody that had two female dogs, and then suddenly they had more dogs too.
Right. Mm.
Yeah.
Strange. On that note, that's probably a good time to finish. Just before we do, I just want to say thanks to WP Engine for this Zoom Pro account because we wouldn't be here otherwise. So thanks for that. And
yay.
And thanks for giving us an hour of your time, Kristen.
Thank you. It's fun.
Because we know that so many people have missed out on such good support because you've been spending it with us.
The whole support channel's probably just gone down and everyone's frantic.
Oh, no, I have very good colleagues.
Yeah.
I trust my team.
Well, and you know what? While you were speaking with us, the Spice Girls came on because they wanted to promote their new tour.
That's right. Somebody famous.
But it wasn't Victoria because she's not doing it.
No.
Okay.
All right. Let's stop there. I'm sure I'll see you at the next WordCamp, Kristen, if not sooner.
I hope so.
But yeah, thanks again. See ya.
Thank you. Bye.
See you all later.